Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my cabin down by the creek. So let's talk about the election. And in this video, I'm not going to talk about the election in code anymore. Part of it is that this video isn't me telling you the news. This isn't me parroting fake news of either side. This isn't me pushing any kind of propaganda. What this video is about is my belief of what has occurred. So I think even in the dystopian world of Utopia, I should have the right to speak my opinion of what I see happening around me. So I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm not trying to make any other point other than I'm telling you what I think is going on. I've been watching this closely. I've been watching this election process since before Election Day. Lest we forget that there were ballots for the president, filled out, absentee ballots for the president, being stashed, being hidden, being destroyed, being shredded, being dumped in dumpsters and alongside the road. That there were socialist operatives integrated into the Postal Service, and they worked to destroy as many Donald Trump votes as they possibly could. And that's something that the Kraken and Mr. Giuliani, who just got the COVID, so, sorry about that, Mr. Giuliani. I hope that it doesn't affect you very severely and you bounce out of this real quick. And then again, it just may be a false positive because we've got a lot of those happening as well. So that remains to be seen whether Giuliani is even sick. But that's going to prevent him from doing a lot of the work that needs to be done because people are going to be staying, they're going to expect him to lock down and be in his basement, So, but it appears that the fix was in, and a lot of this stuff was going on well before the election even happened. And so I was watching this and taking notes. So when it became clear that the fix was in from multiple directions in multiple states, and that the lamestream media was going to just declare him the champion, declare Biden the winner, and tell us all to sit down and shut up, and that they were going to censor us. This is, once again, I'm not a newscaster. I'm not spreading news. I'm just telling you how I feel about this. I personally have uncovered, seen, discovered, listened to, watched enough testimony, enough video, enough police reports, right? Because there's people being arrested. There's a postman that's been, charged with felony crimes, okay? And, I'm watching poll workers, people who were supposed to be neutral, who were supposed to be respecting the process, be politicized. So they get together. There was that one witness. I don't remember what state it was in, but in one of these hearings, there was a witness by a woman who was a citizen of the United States, but of Indian ancestry, and I mean from India. Okay, her family's from India, and so she was a person of color. And the left, socialists, are so racist themselves that they see a person of color and just assume they're in on it. Because, they must be on our side because they're what color they are. It's so racist. But to our benefit, they mistook her for one of them, and they opened up to her. She was one of the poll watchers, and she was a Republican. But they didn't think that, even though she was wearing a tag that identified her as a Republican poll watcher, right? But they came up to her and said, okay, we're going to get the Republican poll watchers kicked out. So we want to antagonize them. We want to trick them. If they do anything wrong, we want to make a big deal out of them and get them SOBs, MFers kicked out of here. You in? And to this lady's credit, but also to her discredit as an investigator, I mean, if she hadn't done this, if she'd kept her hand over her tag or something and just played along, she might have got all of the juice on this. But they already spilled the beans, but she held her thing up and went, look, I'm one of the, what do you mean you're going to get us kicked out? And then this other Democrat operative working at the as counter, and she said, how can you be on that side? You're on the wrong side. You're a person of color. What are you doing with them racists? I personally have seen enough stuff like that. I've seen them cover up the windows so that the poll watchers couldn't see what they were doing. I've seen them declare an emergency because of a water break and shut down counting, just to then be caught on video after everybody left, pulling out bundles, boxes, suitcases, okay, tubs, containers, whatever you want to call them. They pull out these containers filled with ballots and go right to counting them and putting them through the machine. I've heard multiple people testify that they saw Democrat operatives at the counting center counting stacks of votes for Biden more than once into the machine, as many as 25 or 30 times. The left has made fun of this process. The left has declared the winner. And, at the bottom of this video, right down there, I guarantee you, is going to be a little thing that right down there, right at the bottom of my finger, this right spot. Just look below my face right now, and it'll say AP has called the election for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the president-elect, which is just a bald-faced lie that he's the president-elect. AP can call a monkey the president if he wants to, but it don't make it true. Just because the Associated Press says it, just because the lamestream media says it, doesn't mean it's true. In fact, most of the things they say are true are not true, and we all know this, and we've been watching this for a really long time. So we're not fooled by you socialist communist thugs. We're not fooled by your gaslighting. In fact, it's just pissing us off. So I've seen enough to know that Joe Biden is a corrupt politician. I have seen enough evidence in the last few months to guarantee that if I was sitting on a jury, I am beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay? I am convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Joe Biden is a corrupt politician who has taken millions of dollars through his family and their little cabal, their little criminal gang. They have used and utilized his political career to pat all of their pockets. He's been dirty the whole time. And now he's trying to cheat his way into the presidency. What corruption could he attain at that level? Not to mention, he surrounded himself by radical revolutionaries who want to change America so that it isn't even recognizable as America anymore. And they don't care if tough guys like me get caught up in the treads of their tanks as they're bowling over the rest of you either. They don't care. They don't care how many combatants on their side they have to sacrifice to bring about their new world order. They don't care. I've seen enough. I'm convinced Joe Biden is guilty. That's my opinion. I ain't trying to sell you. You notice I didn't make the case. I ain't putting... pay attention, censors. I'm not making a case. I'm judging you and coming to a conclusion. You are corrupt. Guilty as charged. If a judge won't preside over a jury and have a proper trial to convict this criminal, then we have to convict him in the eyes of public opinion. And that's what this video is about. How I am convinced now that a socialist network of criminal cheaters worked stupidly, honestly. It was stupid the way they did it. Their cheating was so over the top. They wanted to win by so much that nobody would question it. Everyone would assume it was a landslide, because how could you cheat by that much? And what they underestimated was the record number of people that showed up to vote for Donald Trump, because we all knew this was coming. We all knew it was coming. Do you know why the lamestream media has been telling people for months that Donald Trump won't leave the White House even though he lost? Because they had the fix in. They intended to cheat, and if they got caught, they were going to call Trump a tyrant and a dictator for not stepping down and giving it over to the cheater-in-chief, Mr. Biden, and his criminal gang. I don't think Donald Trump should step down. Once again, I ain't telling him what to do. I am a powerless smurf. No, a serf. I just kind of look like a smurf. I tell you what, I've talked till I'm blue in the face on this for dang sure, right? I'm all smurfed out on this one. No, I'm just a serf. right? I'm just a lowly sharecropper, okay? We'll give you that. I'm a knight, if you want to know the truth. And people better listen to people like me. But in their eyes, I'm just a serf. I have no control over what they're doing. I'm not calling for any kind of action. I'm just telling you, we don't buy it. I don't buy it. My neighbors don't buy it. My friends don't buy it. My viewers don't buy it. Just because the AP's selling it doesn't mean we're buying it. Just because mainstream media is telling the tale doesn't mean we're believing it. You're weaving a story doesn't mean we're gonna sit down and let you finish it. I'm convinced. I'm convinced the fix was in. I'm not telling you what to think, but I'm sold on it. I have come to the conclusion that socialist plants within the Democratic Party nationwide have been cheating on elections for a long time, and now they just overdid it, and I believe that Trump might have been laying in wait for them. Now, so let's talk about other people's opinions. So I'm not a big fan of Q, but some of the things that Q said was going to happen 4 years ago or 3 years ago might have a potential possibility of them happening now. So let's talk about a guy named Steve Pieczenik. Steve Pieczenik. That's it, Steve Pieczenik. I have such a hard time with the guy's name because I actually read his books and I thought his name was Steve Pieczenik, not Pieczenik. So I was pronouncing his name wrong in my head as Pieczenik or Pieczenik. I must have read 12 books the guy wrote because you don't know. Well, a lot of people don't know who he is, but he's probably the patriot in the Patriot games. So Tom Clancy wrote these books, and he used several inside government spooks, as it were, people who were contractors. Some of the most shady characters are the contractors. Radar wants to be on TV. He's barking. They may be coming for me. Quick, make a dash for it. They're coming for me. But Steve Pieczenik, I think I got it right that time. This guy worked with Tom Clancy and helped him write the Patriot game series. A lot of people think that the character that was played by guy that was played by Harrison Ford and also by Ben Affleck, that character is maybe based on Pieczenik, or information at least that Pieczenik gave to him. And then Pieczenik or Pieczenik, Pieczenik, there's a Z in there somewhere, I thought. But anyway, he wrote a series of books called Net Force. And I was a huge fan. I probably read, I don't know how many Net Force books there were, but I know I didn't read them all because he was prolific. But I probably read it at least 8 or 10. Very interesting read. Futuristic, set in the future in high-tech world. So, but I don't know. It's been right about the time of the election or right after the election. Pieczenik, we're just going to call him Steve, okay, or the Patriot. There you go. We'll just call him the Patriot. So this Patriot, he went on a certain Orway, Infoway. Is that right? I don't know. I messed that one up. I said I wasn't going to speak in code, but there you go. They went on AJ's channel. And he said, he told this whole story. He said, now I'm free to talk about it because it's underway. But this has been top secret. And in so many ways, he sounded like Q, right? And it made me wonder, is Steve Pieczenik Q? Don't. I don't know. I think they disagreed on a lot of things. But right now, the story that Pieczenik is telling sounds a lot like something Q might spin. And the story goes like this. Trump knew they were going to cheat. Trump knew he barely won last time, even though really he won by a landslide because in 2016 they cheated. They watched the elections in 2018 and they saw them cheating there. And so they set a Trump trap. And what you're seeing is a Trump trap played out. I kind of find that hard to believe. I'm going to need some coffee for that. It's almost like a coffee talk. Just because I've seen Trump so frustrated. Right? And maybe he's frustrated because he had the wrong idea of what would happen when he blew the whistle on the cheating. He thought that the whole world would go, okay, we got him. Let's get him, boys. But instead, they all went, sit down, shut up, you're a liar, it's a conspiracy theory. And the people, so many of the people bought it. But I think what we're also seeing is this split between Republicans who, let's just say there are some Republicans who are in office right now because of Dominion voting systems. Don't, right? That these are the people that are saying, sit down and shut up. Just go ahead and admit you lost Trump. We're going to make the transition over to Biden. The AP called it. We're going to go with that these people who wear that Republican sticker, who are saying this, maybe they got elected because of Dominion. Maybe the reason they can't back this play against cheating is because when push comes to shove and all the truth be known, Dominion cheated for them too, because they were on the take. Money is very powerful. To me, that greed that inspires, that desire to hoard all of it, to keep it for yourself, is one of the most evil things in the world. And I can tell you right now that desire is so strong in people that they will sell their souls to the devil for very little. In a previous video, I talked about how, Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of stew, and how some of these voters sold their country out for free college, right? Or guaranteed basic income. So it's no stretch of the imagination to think that there are people on both sides of the aisle who took the money. They signed the deal. They made the deal with the devil. They went to the crossroads and they made their decision. So I think the people that won't back the president are the people who are also dirty. And this corruption is actually way worse than even I thought. I knew how corrupt certain individuals were and how evil they were, but I didn't know how many people they got to join them. I did not realize until Trump started poking the stick in this hornet's nest exactly how dirty the swamp was, how many hidden nasty creatures lived beneath the surface, how much vile toxicity had destroyed our ecosystem that once was a great country, the United States of America. They poisoned our ecosystem. The swamp was so vile, it's ruined the farmland. It doesn't just need to be drained. The top 6 inches of dirt need to be removed and burned. So, Pashenik says Trump knew about all this stuff even before he decided to run for office. That this plan was being put forth. And it sounds like Q, all the way back to the beginning. Q's been wrong about everything, so I'm not a Q supporter, and I don't think it's a modern day crossword puzzle for people who are conspiracy theory minded. But Pashenik, even though I don't trust that guy as far as you can throw him, and I can't believe, knowing now who I know who he was, I'm not a fan, right? I was a fan of his writing. Those stories were really good. I mean, and they were very interesting. But I just as a human, he's a spook. He's one of them, right? He's a swamp creature from way back. And as he says in his interviews, I'm an expert in overthrowing regimes. And what he's saying is that there is a socialist communist plan to overthrow our regime or our way of doing our elections and all of it. They want to get control of the Senate, the House, and the presidency. And they wanted the courts too, but Trump stopped them on that. Oh my gosh, what they could have done with the courts too. And then they just want to amend the Constitution. They want to take away the Second Amendment. They're going to pack the courts. When they come back in, they're going to use the Senate, the presidency, and the House, if they can get it, if they can manage it, to pack the courts. So once they pack the courts, add new court members, then they can add new states and make sure that no Republican ever wins anywhere for anything, even for dog catcher. You can't get elected a Republican outside the state of Oklahoma when they're done with this thing. That's their plan, is to just dominate it, take control of it, and then, like Schumer said, change America. We don't want you to change America. We liked America the way it was before you started trying to change America, because, this is not your first attempt. You've been changing America since the 60s. And some of the stuff you did was good, right? You know, in every lie, there's a grain of truth. It's what makes it believable. So your agenda, equal rights, equal pay, all of this stuff had righteous underpinnings. But you know, that was just the pitch, the sales pitch that got you in the door, that got your foot in the door. And everything you've done since then has been focused on destroying the system, destroying America. And when you're destroying the cisgendered patriarchy, can you wrap your mind around the fact that you're destroying families and people and human beings? That because of the work you've done to destroy the nuclear family, that you have caused, honestly, uncountable sorrows. That some of the things that you have done to try to destroy the nuclear family has destroyed the family. And these are people. They're human beings. You sadistic scum. You're not taking down a system. You're destroying human lives and families and people and futures and plans and dreams and hopes. Your agenda has destroyed my family and my dreams and my hopes. So I'm convinced. But let's get back to the what Steve Pashenik, the patriot, is talking about now. He's saying that even on the night of the election, that Trump was sitting with certain, we'll say, former deep state informers, and they were using some CIA software to monitor the elections in real time, looking for those spikes that we see there. They tell you, oh, that's fake news, Sage. That graph has been debunked. No, you're being lied to and manipulated by a bunch of lying, cheating thieves who will say anything to get out of being caught for what they've done. Come on, wake up, people. You're smarter than that. That hook, that bam. You know, it's going along like this, and then whoop, straight up for Biden, past Trump, at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 4th, at the exact same time when they were not letting the poll watchers watch, when they were bringing in suspicious crates full of things from outside, after weeks of the Postal Service destroying ballots. The Postal Service was responsible for delivering the fake ballots. If I was Trump right now, I'd send in the Secret Service. I think the Secret Service is the one that's in charge of policing things like that. And I would go through and have a massive investigation of the U.S. Postal Service. I love my postman. Me and him hang out, you know. The town where my post office box is, a little place. The guy knows me, you know. But the higher ups in the Postal Service have shown to be part of this criminal cabal. What they've done is socialists have infiltrated so much of our government, and they've infiltrated intentionally our voting process. And they've been manipulating the vote for a long time. Trump barely won when really, if only the true legal votes were counted, Trump would have won by a landslide in 2016. He did anyway. That's why they were so mad. They cheated, but they didn't cheat enough. So this time they cheated so much that they thought they could convince you that there's no way you can cheat that much. That's got to be a valid election. It's not. Biden didn't win by a few votes. He won by a lot of votes. He won by a lot of illegal votes. I'm convinced. Once again, I ain't trying to convince you. I don't care. I'm just telling you, I'm convinced. And as much as I don't like Steve Pashenik, he seems to be telling a tale that, if true, right, is going to blow the lid off this thing. That this is a Trump trap. That they set up the deep state and the Democrat Party and the illegal, the people who have infiltrated into the elections process. That this isn't voter fraud. This is election tampering. It's large scale, right? But centralized. In other words, they didn't bother with rigging the Oklahoma election, right? What's the point? There's no way they could cheat that much. Everybody voted for Trump. But they went to the places where they knew it would be close enough that they could tip the scales enough. And then they really pulled out all the stops. And I'm sorry, they left a paper trail. They left video evidence. They left eyewitnesses behind. All I can think of is that they figured once they got the votes and they got the count, if they could get their each state, and once again, these places are, part Democrat, part Republican, these battleground states. They thought they could tip it enough to just get it certified, ram it through, use the gaslighting of the press to shut you up. They may censor me on this, but once again, guys, I ain't trying to sell it. I'm just telling you my opinion. If I'm not allowed to have my opinion, then the First Amendment doesn't exist on this network. As long as I'm still here, I will say I'm not being censored. I'm self-censoring because I know a lot of other people that are getting censored. But in this video, I am just an old curmudgeon telling you the conclusion I've come to. So Pachenik says the fix was in. They got all the evidence. Now just sit back and watch it roll out. Now, what Pachenik is saying is that this is going to end in a Trump military coup, essentially. You can't be a coup if you're the voted in president. But Trump isn't leaving. They spent a lot of time when it seemed ridiculous to me that there was any situation where Trump wouldn't step down if he lost the election. And they being the mainstream media were continuously selling this narrative that Trump's not going to step down. He isn't going to step down. You wait and see. He's not going to step down. He's not going to step down. He's not going to recognize the election. You know why they were laying that seed? You know why they were planting that crop? Because they knew when the election came around, they knew what they were doing. They knew that if they tried to steal the election, the only way that he could ensure that they wouldn't get away with it was to refuse to leave and to bring in a military protection around the White House until this thing gets sorted out. And that's what he's probably going to do, according to Pachenik. But, Steve's been saying stuff for a long time, and I'm not sure I buy it. I don't know how good his sources are anymore. But he claims to be in on it. He claims to know that this is going to go down a certain way. And my concern is that the Q crowd and the Pachenik crowd will encourage Americans to continue eating popcorn on their couch with this idea that this is going to be taken care of for them. Where I'm more of the Owen Schroyer crowd who believes that we need to do something. We need to let them know that we're not going to buy it. We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore crowd, right? I'm for more political action than popcorn eating, as it were. And I'm preparing for when the political action isn't enough. So I've talked to you about what Pachenik, an insider, says is going to happen. We know what the mainstream media says is happening. We kind of know what Trump is saying. Everybody's got an opinion from AJ to Tim Pool to Elijah Schaffer, the Crowder, Steven Crowder. Everybody's got their opinion on what's going to happen from here on out. So everybody knows this is a spiritual channel. I'm a spiritual guy, right? I ain't claiming to be no saint, right? I'm a worldly man. I'm a musician. I'm a gun-toting preacher of the strangest sort. I'll admit to it, right? But I am spiritual, and I do listen for the voice of God. And I have not been given a prophetic word from God on this. The closest thing I can tell you is God moved me to Oklahoma for a reason. I'm just certain of that. I have been picked up, shaped like a rag doll by God, and moved to another position enough times in my life to recognize when it happens to me. So I've told you about my opinions of what has happened, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I wanted to hear what the religious people are saying, so I sought out prophets. Of course, the first prophet is the one I think is probably the most significant prophet of the 20th century. At least, yeah, definitely the 20th and 21st century, was Kim Clement. He's no longer with us, but Kim Clement, piano-playing prophet. I have a connection to Kim Clement. We shared a drummer, okay? I never met Kim, but I feel like I know him, or knew him, rather. And at any rate, he prophesied 8 years for Trump. And, of course, he died before Trump became president, I believe. But before that, before Trump announced, he declared Trump would run for president and serve 2 full terms. And in one of those prophecies, he talks about how they tried to impeach him, and they couldn't impeach him. And then they tried to cheat during the election, and he overcame them anyway. They said people, the news will say that Trump lost, Trump lost, Trump lost, he lost. He's out, he's gone, he lost. But lo and behold, in the end, when the smoke cleared, he did not lose, and he will prevail, much to their chagrin. And I'm paraphrasing this because, you know, the guy closes his eyes and he like prophesies while he's playing the piano. And so, and he kind of halfway sings when he does it. It's interesting stuff. Then I looked at a lot of more mainstream prophecy outlets. You know, there's I used to be a part of this, at least loosely a part of, international group of prophets, people who engage in prophecy often meet together and compare notes, as it were. And they have prophecy councils and prophecy conventions and prophecy camp. It's a bigger deal than you think amongst certain circles of evangelicals and Pentecostal charismatics. So I went down that road, and they're all, to the last man, every one of them is saying, Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win. God told me Trump's going to win. My big question is, if all these people are wrong and Biden manages to take possession of the keys to the White House and move in and Trump skulks away for his another chance in 2024, are you people still going to follow these prophets? I'm just curious. I mean, I won't. I'll probably write Kim off, even though I liked a lot of what he said and he seemed to be right. If he's wrong, you know, you should know that's why I don't follow Q. Q told us a bunch of stuff that's going to happen and never happened. You know, remember the Hillary Clinton's on house arrest and she's wearing an ankle monitor and she's covering it up with the boot. Oh yeah, we've got John Podesta's house surrounded. Q was wrong. He was wrong. And so that's why I don't listen to him anymore. So if all of these prophecy outlets I've looked at got it wrong, they won't get one more. I'll probably throw the baby out with the bathwater on the whole thing, because I can't find one single person who says Trump's going to lose and Biden's going to take the White House. The Pentecostal charismatics, the political insiders, the right-wing commentators, the president himself are all saying that it's a done deal. Donald Trump's going to get another 4 years and Biden's going to skulk away. But he's just going to give up and walk away. And Trump's going to get another 4 years. We'll have to see about that. I don't know. I kind of think that maybe this is going to get resolved without open warfare, as far as the Trump situation is concerned. Now, once he takes power, will there be a counter-revolution? Will there be an uprising? I imagine so. But I imagine that Trump will be a little more aggressive if he manages to hang on to the White House for the final 4 years there. I wouldn't want to cross him. There's nothing meaner than a lame duck president. He'll get you. Got nothing to lose. And everybody gets pardoned. He's like he'll be like the Oprah of partners. You get a pardon, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon. Hey, everybody, look under your seat. You're pardoned. Thank you. I don't know. It's an interesting time to be alive. And I know this has been a long video. I will tell you that usually I shoot them straight through. This one I did an edit at 30 minutes in because my dog was barking and I had to go out and see what he was barking about. So I had to stop the video. But, yeah, I'm convinced. I've seen enough as evidence. The prophets say Trump's going to win. The deep state counter-operatives are saying he's got the fixes in for Trump, that he saw this coming. And all of those illegal votes are all going to get thrown out because Trump actually won the real vote. If only real votes were counted and there were none of these fake votes and none of the Trump votes have been thrown out. I don't know how it's going to go down. I'm not predicting the future. That's not what this video is about. This video is letting you know that I'm convinced beyond a shadow of doubt that the fix was in against Donald Trump. And he's the rightful president of the United States. And I will accept no other. I will accept no other. Now, what does that mean? Not much unless you come out here monkeying around with my rights. And then you're going to get what you deserve. God save our republic.